Good morning, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a wonderful week. We had some nice setups in the last week, and most of them have played out. I hope you made some money. All right, so we're going to start again with the cryptocurrencies this week as well. All right. Before we get started, just about the course and where you can get information about the course. You send me an email and you'll get all the details. So the next course is going to be on the 4th of February up until the 14th. So it's a 2-week course. For more details on the course, send me an email. You'll get information about the course content, the timing, and the schedule. So if you send me an email, you get all the information that is necessary. All right. So we're going to get started today. We start with the cryptocurrencies and the indices. We're going to do it a bit differently today. So just to recap all the trades that we did in the closing of last year, that I had posted them here. So you can just follow some of the setups that I've posted on TradingView. As I said last time, I don't always post every time. But when I do post, I send some really good setups, almost guaranteed setups that you can make profit out of. Okay, so we closed with CHFJPY that you needed to watch. Actually, most of the pairs that we discussed capitulated on the 2nd, and they made the final move. So this was CHFJPY in November, which played out the last move in January, I think on the first trading day of the year. So that's how this plays out. So you can imagine how that trade plays out exactly as anticipated. You started here. We know that it must go up first before it comes down. And even if it comes down, even if it comes up, we understood that it was only making a Y and an X and a Z. But you can see that it is still at that level. We understand that the Z just needs to break the Y before it drops. Okay, so that is a part of the strategy. You can see that so many pips to the downside, over 600 pips from 115 more or less up to 109. Very nice trade. So what's happening now is we've got an impulsive move to the upside. We're going to update this. Let's see how this plays out when we start doing the market analysis in a bit. So we've got a very nice setup again on CHFJPY after that big move as well. So I'm not going to do this now. We're going to update it when we start with the analysis. I hope you made money out of this. Very easy pips. I've been shouting and screaming that you should not miss this one. I hope you really made some money out of that. So that one was going with EURJPY. Exactly the same thing. We wanted it to push a little bit higher, okay, and drop all the way. So even if this target looks modest here, I did this because I wanted to show you that there is a possibility that these can bounce here first before it goes. Okay, so it could either bounce there, correct, or just go all the way down. So that's why I put in a modest target there initially, and we wanted it. If you look at the past videos, you'll see that we wanted it to drop all the way down. Okay, so that is why we got all of those, and it played out perfectly. It gave us even more than what we anticipated. So that was a EURJPY. If you see this US dollar CAD move, it was actually a mistake. I posted a oil chart accidentally. That's why you'll see on the comment I said order cancel. So this was a wrong chart. Unfortunately, on TradingView, if you post a chart and you don't delete it within 15 minutes, it stays there and you can't change it. Now, here was the big move that we were also talking about throughout or towards the end of the last year, US dollar CAD. We've been tracking this corrective structure. At some point, we thought it was just going to make a 3-wave move and drop. Okay, but as it kept playing out, we understood, because we understood how the structures play out. If it doesn't play out one, we understand which one is going to play out next. So now it made a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5th move. So it's just the 5th move did not turn at the blue box. Actually, this blue box was projected based on the Y degree here. So it made a move here, turned exactly at the 161, and made this big move to the downside. Right now it is currently correcting, or rather let's just play what it has done so far, and you see how amazing this wave analysis is. So somebody could have thought, because it is now pushing higher and higher and higher and higher, this is not going to stop, it's going to keep going. But we understand that this is wave analysis, and this is how waves work, and this is why we were looking for this to push down with this move. Right now, we are busy with this correction. We're going to look at this correction when we start with the market analysis and see how you can benefit from this, because this is still going to drop. Okay, so let's carry on with I think this is all that we looked at. And lastly, this was on euro US dollar. So I have been looking for this one to drop. It did not drop from here. Instead, from here it went sideways. Okay, so right now, last week we looked at a setup which played out perfectly. It has now been dropping. I was looking at some members saying they made profit out of this. You can see that nothing happened. What happened instead was this just made a sideways move. It just made this corrective structure. And if you look at this corrective structure, we can actually understand what it is doing. It is a 1, it is a 2, it is a 3-wave move. That is why when it got to that level, I said last week that you should be selling it here. That is why it is dropping. There was another opportunity to sell, and you're looking for it to come down into the lower boundary of this correction initially. Okay, we'll discuss that shortly. And now we are almost there at that lower boundary. But the target is not necessary. We don't project the target by trend lines or boundaries. We project it by the sequence and the structure. So the low, we'll look at the target just now. I don't think I won't give the target here. Okay, yeah, I think we can actually give you. I think we almost there, just a few pips. So the lower boundary trend line is coinciding with the projected Elliott wave sequence here. Okay. All right, so that is Euro US dollar and the rest of the pairs that we looked at towards the closing of last year. Okay, so just briefly, we use, if you're gonna join us, I've had a number of members who've signed up over the weekend as well. I'm still gonna respond to your emails. So if you are going to join us, please download an app called Slack. If you don't know it yet, if you are not already using it. So this is what we do in our group. So we've got a channel for each and every pair. So if you look on the left hand side here, we've got a channel for the DXY, the Dow. This is for course members. You'll find them here in December. Any communication about the course, you'll find it there. CHFJPY, you'll find it there. That is all members that are discussing CHFJPY. So you can see that this is very organized. This is very organized. Only members talking about CHFJPY, you'll find them under the CHFJPY pair. Members talking about Euro US dollar, you'll find them only talking about Euro US dollar. Okay. So what I do here in all these discussions, I will post my views and my charts. You'll see that I will pin my charts. You'll see where then you get my views. So members discuss their ideas, and then I post my ideas as well, and I have them pinned there. So this is a community of over 330 traders, all looking at the charts the same way. So if you're in here with us, you've got guidance. You can be a lonely journey trading alone. So if you're interested, you can join us. All the information, as I said, you can send me an email. You'll get all the details. All right. Now let's get started with the business of the day. Now we are going to start looking at the cryptocurrencies. We're going to start with Bitcoin. As usual, I'm going to again look at the long-term view and show you what we discussed last week, which has also played out, even if it is not just those that many pips, but it has played out as we've anticipated. Now I'm going to switch off the labeling here. So Bitcoin, this is what is happening long-term. We had the big move up until the end of January 2018. And from there, it has been pulling back. It pulled back in 3 waves. And after pulling back in 3 waves, it pulled back again in a 5-wave move. Okay, so after that, it made this 3-wave structure in red in the lower degree here. I think some of you are tired of seeing this now, because you've seen it so many times. As I do it almost every week. So this is the structure that we're looking at on Bitcoin. We're looking for this to reverse around this area. But currently we're making a correction here, which means Bitcoin is still going to drop some more. But let's finish this structure first. So this is the expectation when we get to that level where we are right now. We are expecting that we're going to have a move up. So just remember, this move that I'm drawing here, I should be drawing it here, but it's going to look awkward and skew if I draw it here. So I want to draw it in a way that you can understand what we're looking at. So we're going to expect a move to the upside, and then we're going to expect this move. We're going to expect that move to happen around here, and then so some already noting that I'm drawing this below zero. I'm not saying Bitcoin is going to go anywhere below zero. We're going to get very close to around those levels if this move plays out exactly as we're anticipating. So now, after this structure, what do we expect? Or rather, let's understand what this structure means. It is 3 waves moves down, 3 waves moves correction, and the 3-wave move down, which we're expecting right now. We don't know how far or how close to zero this will be, but it will be very close. So let's see how this is going to play out. So now, the X here that you see is this one here. This is the X wave here that you see. So it's a simple 3-wave move that is playing out like this: 1, 2, 3, and we expect this move to happen now. Okay, simple as that. Okay, it looks simple like that, but you need to get an entry point. Now, let's see what we discussed last week. Last week we were looking at this structure. It was correcting here. We said it's going to drop and retest the low here. We have not gotten to the low yet. We haven't got to the low S yet, but we're looking for this to drop in the coming session, back up, and some more down. So this is a continuation pattern, which means there is no reversal on Bitcoin as yet. We're still going to go down. So let's look in the 4-hour and look at this structure here, see what's going to happen in the next coming sessions. We're going to go to the 4-hour. Let's look in the 4-hour. If you look at the 4-hour, this is where we were last week. Last week, we were busy correcting with this move. Almost all the cryptocurrencies had these corrective structures. Now, if you look at last week, look at how interesting this is. It is exactly the same setup as you have last week. So this structure, that is a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3. We are exactly where we were last week. We are again here, 1, a 2, and a 3. So expect the same thing to happen again. We are expecting this now to drop to this level at least. Okay, around 3,200 area. Okay, so this is fractals. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. So expect a similar drop in the next coming session. So when you get to around this level, we'll expect this to make this move. 1, 2, 3, then back down before we push higher. Okay, so you've got a very clear setup on the cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin specifically. Right, so that's your trade for the next week. This is what you're going to be looking at. For me, I'm not looking to trade this down as yet. I'm looking for, I'm going to wait until these cryptos get as close as possible to zero. Right, let's go back and look at Litecoin. Let's look at Litecoin. Litecoin. We were here last week. We looked at this structure and said it was going to drop. We looked for it to either make this as a running flat and push higher, but that's not going to happen. Okay, looking at Bitcoin, this is what's going to happen now. You've got this structure. We're expecting continuation to the downside. Whether this is only going to take this level or it's going to take this level, we're going to see as that drops. Okay, but one of those two levels is going to reverse from. But we're going to have to see if we get any signs of reversal around this area so that we can get this move, and then this move, and then this move to the upside. So what will this make? If this is the case, actually, let's just have a look here. Let me remove this. If it makes this structure, this is what it means. It means you've got an impulse up, you've got a correction, you've got a correction and an impulse up. So this becomes a 3-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, and then a drop. Because it's a corrective structure, it's a continuation pattern. You expect this move to carry on to the downside before any reversal. Okay, so just look at the higher degree here, quickly, higher degree on Litecoin. Similar to Bitcoin, rallied to the max around 360 in January 2018. It has been correcting, pull back in 3 waves, another pullback with an impulse, and from there it has been making this 3-wave structure. We are right now in the blue box area where we're expecting this to at least after this move, we are expecting a bounce in the yellow degree around this area and another bounce. It's not going to go below 0. I need to be careful not to draw it below 0, as some of you have complained about it, and it was not intentional. Okay, and I'm not expecting it to go below 0, so we're expecting this to drop a little bit more. That move, and that move to the upside. Okay, so for now we are getting this continuation pattern. Let's look at it in the 4-hour again. This is the continuation pattern you're expecting. You can see that there's a similar corrective structure as you have on Bitcoin. This is the corrective structure that you've got. You've got an impulse, you've got a corrective structure. Okay, you can make another one like that before it drops, but this is a corrective structure. When it breaks, it's going to come back down. All right, that's Litecoin. And Ethereum. If you look at Ethereum, also the same thing. You can see exactly the same structure as Litecoin on the 4-hour. So this is a pulsing move to the upside, it's a move to the downside. So this could do that, up, down, before we go up. Okay, so that's the structure that you're going to be looking at. You've got 1, 2, 3 waves up, 1, 2, 3 waves back, and then we'll look for 1, 2, 3 waves to the upside. Okay, but the immediate move is to look for this structure here. This structure to break to the downside. This corrective structure. It's immature, it's very incomplete, so wait for it to play out. The clear structure is Bitcoin, obviously, more than these others. Ethereum. If you look at Ethereum, it's got a very clear structure, but for now, also same as the other cryptos, we're expecting Ethereum to drop back to the previous low at that level, looking at that corrective structure. Now, let me show you the higher degree on Ethereum. It looks very interesting and clear. And you understand why we are looking at the structure like this. So same as the others, January 2018, we have been pulling back with this move. Pullback, 3-wave, correction, another 3 waves, and now we're expecting another 3 waves here. 1, 2, 3, down before we push higher. Okay, let me not draw it below 0. 1, 2, 3, down and around here before we push higher. What will we have here? We'll have, sorry, I meant ripple. Ripple. Which one did I say? We're looking at ripple. Sorry. Okay, yeah, it's ripple. So now this is a first wave down. Correction X, Y, correction, Z, correction. That is the anticipation now. We're expecting that after this drop that we're expecting, we'll expect a push higher and a lower before we move to the upside. Very clear structure, 3, 5, 11 swing sequence here, up, down, and then we look for this to push higher with this move. Okay. So 4-hour again. Let's just do it again. Let's have a look here. So the structures on the cryptos are very clear. Those who trade cryptos should be making a killing. Let's have a look here. So that's that correction. It is immature. It's not complete as yet. So this is the possibility. One could do that, retest the low here. From this low, you'll then expect this to come and retest 0.44 again before we drop and then a move up. Okay. Right, so those are the cryptocurrencies. Now, I'm going to do the indices today. The reason why I'm doing the indices is because there's been a lot of comments about the analysis I was doing towards the end of the year, saying that we're going to see new highs on the indices and it looks like it is starting to happen. Now, what I show you here is not my opinion. It is I'm showing you what the strategy that I have learned shows me. That is the Elliott wave theory. Then if I'm wrong, and it's not because I don't like being wrong, it's not because I'm wrong, it's because those are the drawbacks that you find with the wave theory, because I read the market as I have studied the theory. Now let's look at the S&P 500. Obviously, sometimes you do make mistakes and you read the charts wrong, but essentially most of the time you should be getting the forecast almost 95% right. Notice that I say forecast and not the setups. It's a difference between trading and forecasting. So forecasting is quite easy. The difficult part is trading, getting the actual entry points, the stop loss areas, the take profit areas. That is the challenging part. So now I want to show you why I was expecting this S&P 500 to make new highs after this, what seemingly was a crash, when every market analyst was saying it's gonna crash, while I was saying we're gonna see new high after this corrective structure. So I was saying that we have this as an expanding flat, and this is why how we understand the structures. And I said after the expanding flat, we're gonna expect new highs. Why am I expecting new highs? It's not just because I like new highs, it's because I was looking at this. This is something that I don't normally show you guys. You don't see the sequence. You see what I show you, the short-term moves that you see here on Sundays. You don't see the overall structure here. So now this is the overall structure. Okay, unfortunately, it's a little bit cluttered here. I'm gonna clean it up. So this is what you have here. So if you look at this whole thing, it's a 5-wave move, and initially it starts with a 1, it starts with a 2, and you've got a lower degree here. Let's do that lower degree in 3 in yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that lower degree in yellow has completed. When that yellow degree completes, it is only completing the blue. So this is what you guys don't see. The long-term view. We don't just come here and put in the numbers. There is a long-term view on this, and now we're looking for this to go and make a wave 5. Only after this move will we then expect a crash, and not necessarily a crash, but rather a correction of this whole move. Okay, a correction of this whole move, possibly to the 61%. But for now, we are not ready for that yet. We are not ready for this crash yet. We're still expecting this to come, to keep pushing higher, to go and make that wave 5. So you see where that comes from. Okay, so those that are saying the S&P 500 or the indices are going to crash, it's not time yet. Okay, it's not time yet. Right. So this is how we're looking at the market. Now let's go down again into the lower time frame on the S&P 500. So now this is the piece that you guys see on a weekly basis. This is where I come and update. I don't have time to show you the historical analysis, because if you look at all my charts, they've got historical analysis and labeling on them. That's how we know the direction of the market. Not just because we're gonna come here and see it says 3-wave move here, put in the numbers on the 3-wave move. So we understand this from historical analysis, that this, even if it looks like it's crashing, we don't expect the crash as yet, because the sequence is not complete. So what were we expecting here? Any corrective structure here will be confirming further upside, and at least to come break that top over there. Okay, so you should also be able to project a wave 5. Okay, we're not going to do that projection here yet. So if I just go down to the lower time frame, see if there's an entry point there. For now, there is no entry point. Okay, there's no new entry point here. So somebody could have entered there, could have entered there. So now look for a deeper corrective structure that corrects everything and ride this to the upside. Looking interesting now. So the Dow and the NASDAQ will have similar structures. Okay, as you can see, the NASDAQ is actually slightly different, because there is no relationship between this and this, but rather the wave 4 that we're looking at in blue on the S&P 500 is only in 3 waves like this. So you've got a 1, 2, 3 wave structure. So that's why even when it was crashing here like this, you just wait for this to complete here and then reverse. So that is what is happening now. You've got that reversal, any corrective structure here, you're expecting this to keep pushing higher. All right, before the anticipated crash. Okay, so many market analysis were saying there's going to be a crash and what. We're not trading the news. We're looking at technical charts. I mean, the news can have any outcome, but whichever outcome the news comes up or any event comes up, this is still driven by the market psychology. It will do exactly as the technicals are supposed to do, and that has been our experience, my experience, ever since I've been trading the Elliott wave theory. Even if I don't look at the news, only look at the news just because I'm not ignorant, but it should not influence my bias in technical analysis. Right, so let's carry on. This is the Dow, also the Dow, similar structure as the S&P 500. So now there is a relationship here between this and that. So it is an expanding flat. That is why you are getting an expanding flat and a pulsing move to the upside. Now you're waiting for any corrective structure to rob this to the upside. In any case, you're expecting a 5-wave structure here, either a motive, any motive wave, either an impulse or a diagonal. But it looks like it's going to be an impulse. Simple as that. Okay. So you can imagine what would have happened to all those people that were selling as this was coming down here, thinking it is crashing. Now everybody should be in the red who thought the indices were crashing. Right, UK 100 or the FTSE has made a 5-wave move up. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5 is not complete as yet. We'll expect this to push a little bit higher before you get any sort of correction that corrects this whole move. Otherwise, then that will mean that we're going all the way up. I think we've got a blue box on this area here. Yeah, so this is what we anticipated. Those arrows were drawn last week before we had this move. Okay, so that has played out exactly as anticipated. All right, so now wait for this to push a little bit higher, correct, and push higher. Okay, right, that is UK 100, NIKKEI. NIKKEI, also an expanding flat. Now we just need to move this from there to there. That's an expanding flat. Simple ABC move. This one looks like it has got a pulse and what looks like a diagonal. We're going to expect a 3-wave move correction at any point now. So don't think that this correction is a reversal. It may just be a continuation pattern to keep pushing this higher and higher. Right, that is the Nikkei and the DAX. And the DAX pushed slightly below our blue box. Now it made a pulsing move and a correction, and now it is making a pulse with this. So this can push a little bit higher like that, come correct here, correct the whole move before we start trending to the upside. And that's how you're gonna look at it. Right, and the Nifty, before we start with the measures. So the Nifty is going up quite correctively. So you've got a 1 move up there, you've got a pulsing move up downside here. Now we need to understand what structure is happening here, because this looks like a pulse, it looks like a pulse, a corrective structure. So there's a possibility that this can make keep crawling here, make a move down, make another pulse like that, and it can then make this move like that. That will be a 3-wave move in. Let me follow it with the arrow so you can see what I'm talking about. With a different color, let's do this with white. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. That is the anticipation based on how this is playing out. So at that point, maybe then we can have a 3-wave move correction that will push this higher. Okay. So for now, wait for this to clear. If it's going to push higher, you need to wait for this to clear this level. We're correcting here now. That tells you that in the next coming sessions, this is gonna keep pushing higher. Hopefully this breaks the top here, comes back down, up, down, then this move, and then it'll be 1, 2. So if you look at this structure, this will be a W, a X, and a Y. This should be 3 waves, similar as this is a 3-wave structure with a running flat there. You see. Okay. Hope that is clear. And Sun Pharmaceutical, I usually look at, now I'm doing this one before we get started with the measures. I usually do this towards the end, but this is the stock that I'm looking at for some of our Indian traders that are interested in this. Last week we discussed that this was going to keep dropping after it was making this corrective structure, and this is exactly what has happened. It has dropped. Okay. So what is the next move here? Let's see. Next move on this one, it has cleared this level. This why what I said last week, because we're clearing this level and we're getting a corrective structure here, this is going to keep dropping. So another corrective structure, so because we have been talking about this corrective structure every time they were happening, and it looks like they only have towards the end of the trading session on a Friday, you end up with this corrective structure. So every time I come on Sunday, you'll find a corrective structure, and I'll just tell you, sell the breakout, sell the breakout. Similar to this, sell the breakout. We don't have a corrective structure this week, so it means the next week is going to be spent building this corrective structure for another sell to the downside. Okay, now let's start with the majors now. Let's look at Euro US dollar and the DXY. All right, let's start with Euro US dollar. I've got need to fix this up here. I've got this appearing in more than one time frame. Right, so now Euro US dollar, this is the structure that I showed you last week. Let's look at the daily. I'm going to do them individually this week, Euro and the DXY. So the structure that you're looking at on the Euro, we are anticipating, or we're looking at this as having completed its 5 waves down, and those 5 waves are these ones are these waves in red. That is your 1, that is your wave 2, 3 in red, a 4, and a 5 that is completed, and now we're looking for this to be a corrective structure. Okay, so this is on the daily, and I said, let me not take this out, and I said last week that this corrective structure looks too small to correct this whole move. Let me remove this. So I'm expecting, even though we sold it here, you'll see this in 4-hour time frame. We sold it there, and I said this is going to come down to the lower boundary. I'm going to project the target just now. I said this structure is too small to correct this whole thing. Okay, if this breaks out here and keeps going, then we're going to have to adjust and update the analysis and relook at it, because I'm expecting that we are either going to have a WXYXZ move or a WXY move in the higher degree. The difference that we discuss during the course, so it's not something that we can discuss here. So we're looking for this correction. Just for interest, for those that like to see more detail, you see here we've got a lower degree 1, 2 in green, 1, 2, 3, and this 4 happened in a triangle. That is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a drop to wave 5 that completed. Okay, so that is the internal, the extension within the wave 3 there. Okay, so now let's go to the 4-hour and see what we looked at and last week and how this has played out. So last week we had this move here. We had this corrective structure. Actually, the last week we had 1, 2, 3 waves, and I said wait for this correction to build. This was even before the correction. I think this was the first webinar of the year last week. It was even before the structure started building. I said after the structure builds, you need to sell. Another one built again, you need to sell. Okay, so now we're down at the lower boundary. This may be towards the end here, even correlating to the Elliott wave sequence here. Making this, let's draw this in white again with an arrow, a 1, a 2, and a 3. Okay, 3 wave structure, and that will be complete. Then we'll expect another bounce, maybe in 3 waves, back to the top of the boundary. But let's see what happens. If it starts correcting outside the boundary here and we start getting outside the boundary, that's when we're going to start updating. But for those that have sold or caught it here, you need to now start taking profits around this area. Easy enough for the DXY is just the opposite as well. The DXY also on the first webinar of the year, it was before we made this correction. I said we're going to have a correction here and a push higher, and that is what we have now, a three-wave move here. So around this area, you may expect a bit of a pullback, whether it's going to be in three waves or whether we're going to come back to the lower boundary. So that's what you're going to look at on the DXY. All right, US dollar CAD. Should we look at CAD first? Yeah, let's look at US dollar CAD before we look at the pound. So now let's look at US dollar CAD on the 4-hour. US dollar CAD is the one that I showed you when we started, how we tracked this whole corrective structure. Watch last week's webinar to see why we have been selling US dollar. We'll be anticipating this big move on US dollar CAD. If I just show you quickly, this is the reason why. There were fractals here on US dollar CAD that I've been talking about towards the end of last year. This is the fractal. If you look at this one here, you've got 1, you've got 2, you've got 3, you've got 4, you've got 5. Okay, so this is a WX, Y, X, Z move. So last week I showed how we traded this 600 pips to the upside, correction here, got out of the trade, and another 600 while we were waiting to sell this one right at the top, got this 1,300 pips to the downside. Now what was happening here was exactly the same, and you're not going to miss this. It was 1, it was 2, it was 3, it was 4, it was 5. So when this was crawling up for this wave 5, I was only waiting for this to drop. Actually wanted to try and trade this, but it was not as tradable as this one, because this one made a WXYXZ structure. So now this is a WXYXZ structure. Okay, couldn't quite trade this one because it was not giving nice entry points, and in any case we were anticipating that after the break of this, we spoke about this, after the break of this, this is going to come crumbling down, which has played out exactly as we have anticipated. Now if you look at these two structures, exactly the same fractals. This is structure 1, this is structure number 2. Look at this. How amazing is this? You could not have missed this if you have been watching these webinars. Okay, so now it's not just about the fractals. This must be part of the overall wave structure, and the overall wave structure is this one here. This is your 1, 2, 3 waves. Now this is your 5-wave structure. You're expecting a move to the downside. Similar move, possibly to this. As you can see, this is corrective, and it has taken a couple of years to complete. Same thing here. You could have a big 3-wave move that you will be able to trade. So let's just do this. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Same thing here. You're going to have a big move like that. Okay. So you could even have here, let me make a full screen so we can move. You could even have here another move, another structure that looks similar to this once in white, but in the lower degree. And you will be able to copy it exactly and trade it exactly as we have forecasted this one. But for now, we're still looking for this one to drop furthermore. Okay, now let's get out of the full screen and look at this in the lower degree for our. Look at the 4-hour, we're busy making a correction. I actually took a trade to the upside, anticipating that it was going to make at least a pullback. 1, 2, 3, took the trade there. Now that trade is now not looking so good because the stop loss is somewhere around there. It may be hit because it looks like it may make a move like that. Maybe even like that before we drop, and that will make a 3-wave structure. But let's see how that plays out. I was just being aggressive here. I knew that it was playing against the trend, but I just wanted to take it up before it comes down. But let's see how this one plays out. Otherwise, this is a whole corrective structure. Only when this corrective structure is complete will we look to take it down. All right. US dollar CAD, US dollar CHF played out perfectly. Watch last week. You were here last week. Corrective structure, and I said it's gonna push higher. Look what happened. So that's what you have on US dollar CAD. This is the accuracy of wave analysis. Why were we looking for it to push higher? Because we wanted it to go and complete the wave 5 at the top. Okay, let's see. So now, because we're expecting euro now to start reversing and make a pullback, this one can do the same thing here, pull back to the downside for a further move to the upside. Okay, easy, easy, easy. If you've got guidance, if you know how to trade this. That's US dollar CHF, US dollar pound. Now, US dollar pound, if you look at last week's video as well. Now, the interesting thing here about US dollar pound is that last week, if you looked at it last week, let me do this. If you look at US dollar pound, no, pound US dollar, last week, this is what you would have seen. This is what it looked like. I was not happy that it was actually reversing there because it was not making any structural sense. And normally when that happens, I just stay out and wait for it to play out. It did not make sense that I was getting an impulse here because I wanted this to go into the blue box. So I left it, and when it started to, I think it was on Monday when we doing our daily webinars in our group, that I said this should actually push up to the blue box. I don't know how because you're getting an impulse here, but look how they went and played out. And normally they do this. Look what happened. Same time the candle reversed. So that means that the analysis and the forecast and the anticipation for this to go push into the blue box was actually the correct one. So this is what happens. If I have done an analysis and it's not playing out as have analyzed and I am confident of it, I just stay out and see if it's going to change the structure. So now you can see now we went into the blue box, even if it looks like we may have missed it by a pip or two. That's not a problem. It may have been that I was not accurate with the placing of the fibs at the right points, but this is the blue box and this is where the reversal is. So now what does this do in terms of structure? Look at the daily and why we're looking at it to go into that as a blue box. Now this becomes clearer, right? Now let's switch off. You see, the reason why we wanted it to make that blue box was because we're anticipating this to be a possible running flat. And now we have reversed there. If you get a corrective structure in the next coming session like that, you're dropping. Okay, very, very clear analysis. If you watch this carefully, and the trick here is not to rush anything. You wait for the correct confirmations, then you'll never lose money. We actually have an additional strategy that we use that tells us which trades to take and which one is not to. Okay, almost a foolproof strategy. Right, so that's pound, and that's what you're going to be looking at in the next coming session. I think you're going to need to run a little bit faster. Audi US dollar. Somebody is talking about parity. I don't know what you're talking about there, Ali. All right, so Audi US dollar. We spoke about this. Went into the blue box. Before we closed, Audi US dollar was rallying with this move. Okay, it looked like this was the end of this sequence. And again, because it was going up without coming into the blue box, I left this and I waited for what it's going to do. So and it did quite come back into the blue box with those spikes that happened in the first trading day, and then it went up with this move. Now it went into the blue box, confirmed my structure has completed now. Okay, now if you look at this structure, you've got here 1, 2, 3 there. Let's switch off there. You've got 1, 2, 3. You've got 1, you've got running flat, you've got 3. You've got 1, you've got expanding flat, 2, you've got 3. So now this is a perfect structure. And after that structure, you've got a pulsing move. From this move, you are waiting for a correction. You're waiting for a correction here. I was actually already in here, but I think this correction is going to be deeper than what we already have, what we have so far. Let's go to the 4-hour. So we look at this area. Okay, so this correction can take some time because this move, this pulsing move, was quite strong. This corrective movement was quite strong. So this correction here can be quite complex and big. Not big, a little bit deep. So that's what we're going to be anticipating. It is quite premature now to actually get involved here. Let's wait for this structure to complete. All right. That's Audi US dollar, New Zealand similar as Audi. We've made this move to the upside. We are pulling back. This could even pull back up to around the 61 here. Let's see what happens here. It looks like a pulsing move. Looks like a pulsing move, like an ABC move. Let's see if we get to ABC, if we're gonna push higher. Okay. But for now, we're still coming down. Let's wait for reversal confirmations. We're gonna look at this to confirm the reversal. All right, lastly on the US dollar pairs, we're going to look at US dollar ZAR. So US dollar ZAR, if this keeps scrolling around this area, look for a buy at around 1350. Okay, let's go back daily, see why you want to get involved there. Because US dollar ZAR could possibly go back to around the previous high at 1567. Right, so this is the structure. I've shown this one a couple of times as well. You're running flat there. One of our members in our group has got a different view. So this one could possibly keep coming down like this and even break that 1350 that we're talking about before we reverse, because that will simply be a WXY structure, a three-wave move. Okay, and then we go and then we reverse. So now if this breaks out of this structure, then that's confirmation that you are going to retest the 1574 area minimum. Okay, so let's see. So we will get the confirmation. Just because we've got more than one analysis doesn't mean that we're not going to get it. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. There's another possibility here now that this can be a 1, 2, 3. So which means you're going to have W, you're going to have X here, and then we're going to have another 3-wave move before we go up. So those are all the expectations. For now, we are tracking this one here. Looks like a V pattern. Okay, let's see. This can still keep coming down. So we'll wait for confirmation on that. See what happens. All right, now let's look at the yen pairs. Pound yen. Pound yen is an 8, 1, 2, 3 move. 1, 2, 3 move. When now we're reversing. We've made a passing move. I said last week, if you keep getting corrective structures, keep taking it to go and retest the 156 area. Okay, so any corrective structure on this, you keep buying it. That is the structure. If you want a labeling on this, this is what it looks like. Now, this candle reversal here does not mean anything. There's not even a reversal. This will keep doing this. And this is on the daily, and once this is complete, you'll expect at least a move back up to the previous high at 156 long term. That is pound JPY, US dollar JPY. Now US dollar JPY, same thing. I showed the detail of what we're expecting here, and now we've got a pulsing move to the upside. If you get another corrective structure in the next coming session here, we're going to retest the previous high here at least. Okay, so that's what you're going to be looking at US dollar JPY. Look at last week's video to see a detailed analysis and what we expect out of this pair. I just don't want to repeat that again. You can just watch last week's video as well. Right, apologies, I did not put up the timestamps in last week's video. I'll still do so. Somebody assisted me last year with the timestamps. You can even do the timestamps in the comment section, and I'll just copy them and place them under the description. That will help me a lot. Anybody who can do that for me, I would really appreciate. It makes my life a lot easier because I have to sit for an hour again, watch the whole video, and put these timestamps again. Okay, right. So please help me, somebody. That's what we're going to be looking at now on US dollar JPY. CHFJPY. Thanks a lot, Harry. I will appreciate that. If you can do last week's video as well, I would really appreciate it. Okay, that is US dollar JPY, CHFJPY. You are so resourceful, Harry. Right now, CHFJPY. As I said, this is the one that I showed on the ideas. CHFJPY. Let's just look at it again. This is CHFJPY. Play the whole thing. See what the expectation is here. So now the expectation here with CHFJPY is for it to now push higher. Look how beautiful this structure is. It's a very beautiful structure. Textbook setup, pulsing move. Can this be the first wave? Can this be the running flat? We get one more down, and then we go. If we get that, that's also okay. We've got an even better correction to push this higher. Or alternatively, if you look at this structure, there's also a possibility that this is completed and we're going to reverse. See, there's a possibility that this whole correction has completed and we already have a pulsing move upside. To the upside, you're going to look for this to correct. If you get a correction on CHFJPY here, that means this structure has completed. If you get an impulse, you're going to get this one again here. So those are the two things that we're going to be looking at. By looking at the yen pairs, they look upside, so we'll expect a correction and a push higher. Retest here if it's not going to do this to the upside. Very clear CHFJPY. Always a good pair to trade. It's not the first time we have this type of trades on CHFJPY. Even this move here, we traded this move here 1, 2, and we got all of this move. In these videos, you can go around this area and watch the videos around August. You'll see that we got all of these moves. Then this one, I have been told the guys, this is a guaranteed trade to the upside. You're definitely going to get it. And indeed, it played out. As I did say, it is guaranteed. There's no way this can be wrong. Okay, so now again, we've got a very nice setup on CHFJPY. Always a very clear pair. One of my favorite pairs. I've made a lot of money out of it. So let's see how this plays out. Watch for this correction to complete first. Don't rush it. Wait for 4 hour here. Wait for this to give you a corrective structure. Wait for it to give you a corrective structure here. Right. Carry on with the rest of the yen pairs. So the rest of the yen pairs, did we speak about euro? I think I skipped the euro. So the euro also is the same. Let's go to the 4 hour. The euro is the same. We've made a passing move, but I need to show you the daily view on euro as well. Has made a pulse, has made a 3-wave move. So now what we don't know is whether this is going to make one more down before it goes. If it doesn't and we keep correcting here, that means that this 3-wave move on the euro has completed and we're ready to move. And then this will go with CHFJPY. Alternatively, this could be a 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up. Let's switch off here. 1, 2, 3 up, and then we'll expect another 1, 2, 3 down before we go, making this a corrective structure like that. Simple. Then we'll expect 1, 2, 3. So you see, when you've got more than one alternative, the structure gives you the confirmation even before it plays out. Right, let's run through the yens. Audi US dollar. Audi US dollar. Not Audi US dollar, Audi yen. Okay, we've made this pulsing move to the upside. This is going up here it's still a motive wave, but I am sure if you look down here on the RSI, you will definitely see divergence. Not the strongest divergence though on the 4-hour, but the RSI is not confirming with these higher highs. We're making higher highs, higher highs. At some point, even this is not going to crash down. This should give you a 3-wave pullback for entry for more upside. So at some point here, we should start getting a corrective structure. Wait for it. It's Audi, New Zealand, same. Can you see now what I'm expecting on New Zealand, on Audi? So if you look at New Zealand, this has already made this, kept crawling up until it made this 3-wave move. It has already done that, but the Audi has not done it yet. The Audi is still doing this. It does not have this as yet. So you wait for the same thing on the Audi to happen before we push it higher. So now the New Zealand has already got that structure. It is now correcting. You'll expect it to push at least take this top here. If it breaks it, then we're gonna go with this move. Okay. Otherwise, it can take it, reverse first before it goes. This will still be a corrective structure. The only difference is that it's gonna be a regular flat. Right. So that's New Zealand CAD. CAD also has made a passing move to the upside, has made a 3-wave pullback, now has made a 3-wave push to the upside, corrected, broke the top. Now, if it keeps correcting here, you can see the yen pairs are going to keep pushing higher. Right, that's all the yen pairs. Now let's go into the pound pairs. Before we go to the pound pairs, let's look at silver and gold. Let's look at gold first. The gold is busy making this corrective structure here. Before we do that, let's show you what the analysis is here. Please watch last week's video to get more detail on gold. What this current structure that is happening here could just be a pullback on gold before we push higher, because we are now looking at gold to give us a possible triangle like that. We've got a big move that came down in 5 waves all the way down there, and now we're looking at this one as a first move up there and looking at this one to be a triangle like that. Possibly a triangle, and this will be A, B, C, D, E, and a push higher before we drop. Okay, so that's why I'm saying this, whatever is happening here on gold can just be a pullback before we push to the top of the boundary. Okay, for now, nothing much to look at, unless if you get here in the 4-hour lower degree, if you get, let's go 4-hour, if you get a corrective structure in the 1-hour degree, then this can be a bit of a deeper pullback. Otherwise, this can just be a corrective structure that will look like this. You've got a pulsing move down, you've got a move up in 3 waves. You've got a 1, 2, 3 down. You could have something like this. 3 waves up in red, down in yellow, and a move like this. So that would be a corrective structure for continuation to the upside. Okay. Silver. Also making that correction. If you look at this structure, I need to bring this structure. It has happened before on gold. The way it is dropping now. Let's have a look here. If you look at silver, I want to show you. You see, when you've seen this so many times, and you see a similar structure, it always reminds you of one that you've traded before. This was gold a couple of months back, years back. Let me get gold here, so you can see that this structure. Okay, so I need silver on the left hand side. So I've got silver on the left, I've got gold on the right. So I want to show you a place where the same structure on silver has happened on gold. Let me make that daily on gold so you can find it quicker. How a structure like that just drops. It is here. This was 2016. See what it does? It looks like it's making a correction and starts doing something like this, makes lower lows, and it looks like it is making a correction and you think it's gonna reverse. Same thing here on gold. Okay, so this can drop here. If it drops here and if you get an entry point, you should take silver down here for at least a move here. We may get a pullback and get this move. But let's wait for that confirmation first. You can see that this is exactly the same structure. This is gold in 2016. This is silver in 2019. So the structures, they always repeat themselves. So correction here, enter, and target a move that is similar in size as that one initially. Okay. So these patterns means repeat. So that's what you're going to be looking at on silver. Let's look at the pound pairs. Pound chief, we've made a move down after this corrective structure here. Could there be a relationship now between, let's see, between this and that and that? Can that be a running flat? And now this actually drops, because initially we were looking at this as a single correction. We're looking at this three-wave structure as five-wave structure, W, X, Y, X, Z, as a single structure, and that this is going to go down in a straight line. But it looks like now it has made a running flat here. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to expect a move to the downside. So to confirm that, you need to wait for a corrective structure here for further downside. Okay, we've got a pulsing move. If you look at it on the 1 hour, you'll see it clearly. There's a pulsing move to the downside, but that pulsing move, as you've seen last week, doesn't mean anything. You see here, you also had a pulsing move to the downside. You had that move, but didn't mean anything. So you also had a move here. So this can still push up higher for one before you drop. Otherwise, if you get a corrective structure here, you're ready and it's gonna go. All right, pound chief, pound New Zealand. Now pound New Zealand. All right, it's going to be a little bit interesting here because we're looking for New Zealand weakness in the next coming sessions. And the pound pairs, we were looking at them to come down. So it means we may have a bit of a push higher on the pound pairs. Now, I was looking at my group just before I started with my analysis. And one of the members posted a chart on pound New Zealand. I just want to make sure, lot fee. And he said a 10 lot size, we call this high probable trades, 10 lot size type of trades. And I looked at it and it looks very good for upside. Okay, it looks very, very good for upside. I have not given one of those guaranteed trades this year, but pound in New Zealand could be one of them. Now, if you look at this year, it looks like we've already made a passing move here. We've made a correction already. Now we've made the first piece of the move. We've made the first piece of the move. So this correction, and this is only single at this stage, this correction, if it starts doing something like this or something similar to that, if it happens, you are going to get a guaranteed trade to rally into this area. Almost guaranteed, but on condition that, as you need to wait, on condition that this corrective structure plays out and breaks to the top. If it corrects here and you start seeing signs of upside, this will rally into this area. Okay, this will be one of the first of those guaranteed trades of this year that I give for free here. But you'll have to thank Lofty for spotting this one for you. So from the blue box, you'll expect downside. Okay, so keep an eye. Keep an eye. Looks good. Looks very good. Okay, so this may change the view on the other pound pair. So they may not be ready yet. They may have this one last push to the upside before they drop. So this will be a 1, this will be a 2, and then a drop. Watch this one, guys. Watch this one. Don't miss it. Okay. Now that is pound New Zealand. Pound chief we did. Pound Audi. So pound Audi also we've got a pullback, but because we're looking at correlation with the other pound pairs, this may still also push to the upside. Okay, watch last week why I want this to keep pushing to the upside. I've shown a higher time frame of this. I don't want to repeat again. Last week is still only just 7 days ago, so you can just watch last week's video as well. Right, so we're expecting, even if we've got this what looks like a pulsing move, I'm expecting a push higher again, break this previous high. So that's why we're gonna this will support this pound New Zealand trade that we're looking at. Now pound CAD. Now pound CAD, it's possible, Larry. It's possible. Now pound CAD, very tricky one. Not tricky. Now just look at this. Now if you're a wave trader and they give you and you find the chart, you're busy with your analysis and you find a chart like this, what do you do here? In this mess, what do you do? Most will just give up and leave it. Harry says you don't go anywhere. You stick with it, you understand what's going on, and you try to understand it. And this is how we understand it. There's no structure that is not defined by the Elliott wave theory. None that I've found so far. I haven't found any so far. So this is what we do. We look at the structure. We can see it's a corrective structure, but which one? We've learned a number of corrective structures from the Elliott wave theory. So we can see one here, it's a regular flat. Okay, and then we can see another one here, it's a 1. It's a 1, it's a 2, it's a 3. Okay, now we can also see another one here in the higher degree. It's a 1, it's a 2, it's a 3. Now, all of a sudden, this does not look so complex anymore. Let's just do this 1 is a 2, this one is a 3. Now, this 3 here is ending with 3-wave structure. So we'll expect this to still keep pushing higher, okay? To keep pushing higher. So now, what you have here is a simple ABC structure, or a WXY. It's actually a WXY. You've got 3 waves there. Not very visible, but it is 3 waves. WXY in blue. Is that blue? I'm colorblind. You'll help me, but you can see what I'm doing. And you're going to have another ABC move in red like that. See, simple. Now, if you wanted to take it further, you'll see that's another 1, 2, 3 wave structure in green, which you can also label ABC. Now, this is a complex complex X correction. Complex X correction. So what are you expecting if you've got a structure like that? You're expecting your pound CAD to push a little bit higher more, some more. From there, then you'll expect the drop. So the pound pairs, we're expecting them up. So same thing here. Now it looks very easy now that I have looked at it, but before it looked like a mess. Okay. All right. Now that is EUROCAD. Let's pound CAD, pound chief, pound New Zealand. Let's just make sure that all the pound pairs are done. CAD is done. Right now, let's start with the euro pairs. To complete the pound pairs, we're gonna do euro pound first. Euro pound is playing out perfectly. Looks like it's still downside, and that is confirming that the pound pairs are still gonna keep going down. Now, I just have to show you the structure that I showed you last week. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. You're still looking for that to come down. So now all you need here is just a corrective structure to come down. Okay, so euro pound a little bit of a move to the downside before any correction, because we're now looking at pound as where pound is the base pair, we're looking for upside. Okay, now correction here, nothing here. It's telling you reversal. There's no reversal here. I see Ali says up. I don't know what that is based on. We are looking at this to correct and push lower, and that supports the pound upside. Right, that's euro pound, euro New Zealand. So the New Zealand pairs, where you find the New Zealand as the quoted pair, you are expecting. Ali says, I said pound goes down. So the pound up, pound up, pound up. My apologies. Pound up, euro down. So even here on the euro, euro up, euro down, pound up. Yes. Thanks for correcting me. My mind and my mouth don't really usually go together. All right. Cheers. Let's carry on here. So this is now euro pound. So we've done euro pound. We are looking at euro New Zealand. So still talking about where you find the New Zealand as the quoted pairs. You've got a passing move here. You've got a three-wave pullback. Now the question is whether this pullback is done. This pullback, is it done? And we're gonna go all the way up. Remember, we're looking for pound New Zealand upside. That could support this here. Let's go to the 4 hour and go a little bit more detail here. So on the 4 hour, we've got the clear three-wave pullback. There's a pullback we were looking at. You've got a push up in three waves. Is this gonna do this first before it goes? So let's watch. There's a number of possibilities here before this confirms. So this corrective structure here is very immature now. I was actually almost getting in here because I know that the New Zealand pairs are going to be weak in the next coming session. So there's still a possibility that this can do this, can do that, W, X, Y. But I don't expect this to be that deep. But it doesn't matter what I expect. Let's let the structure play out. We're looking for New Zealand to be weak. So let's see if we can get maybe a 1, 2, 3 like that, and this starts pushing higher. And once Euro New Zealand starts pushing up, pushing higher, it never stops. Most of the pairs that we take on New Zealand, when they start going, they go and they don't stop for a while. You keep holding it and you make money. Okay, so this will be a correction above the upper boundary of this correction. So let's see how this plays out. So what you need to wait for is for this correction to mature so you can understand what it's giving you. EURAUD before we do EURCAD. EURAUD also starting to look like we're gonna, let's see here. We're getting some divergence there on the RSI. So we're gonna wait and see what we get here. Let's clear that. What we get around this level. This keeps coming down. RSI keeps going up. Some point we should get a push up, push higher here on the EURAUD. All right. Actually sold EURAUD here, anticipating a move similar in sizes that does not look like it has gone in there yet. Maybe it can still get there before it pushes higher. But this is gonna be now a very slow move if it keeps going like this. So you can even exit this one now. Right, that's EURAUD, EURCAD. 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 Now let me go to the daily here. EUROCAD has now made what looks like an expanding flat with this move to the downside and this three-wave move here. 1, 2, 3 here. So EUROCAD may be driven by the CAD and keep pushing and push lower with the US dollar CAD for this move. Okay, so let's see if we get a corrective structure around this boundary line on EUROCAD, we're going to drop. Just keep an eye on it. CHF. EUROCHF could be making this expanding flat here. May wait for euro to come to start reversing before it makes this move. Keep an eye and watch it. Let's see. I think that's all the euro pairs. We can look at some of the cross pairs. Let's start with oil first before we start. We will look at the cross pairs. Oil. Now, oil has made a 5-wave move up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is completing this last piece. At some point now, this is going to start correcting with this move. It's going to start correcting. And while it is correcting, US dollar CAD could be pushing a little bit higher with this correction. So now we'll expect something like this. We don't know what you want to expect, whether it's going to be a regular or whether it's going to be an expanding. Whichever one is going to play out here, let's see. So we've got a pulsing move here, but if it's a pulsing, so if actually no, this is not going to happen because we want, if it's a pulsing move here, it's going to have to be a zigzag. So you're going to have a pullback, possibly to 50.61, and then we're going to push up higher before we drop. That drop may not even happen immediately. You can make another 5-wave move down, pull back up before you drop. So oil, as I said last week, may be going sideways for the next couple of months. Let's watch out for this correction. So you may even be able to trade this correction if you get a pulsing move in the 1-hour degree like this, because on the daily, it may just be a bigger structure like that. So it could be a good trade to trade against this short-term trend. That's oil. Right, now let's look at the cross pairs. Audi New Zealand. Now again, the New Zealand quoted pairs, need to watch them, don't miss them. You've got a pulsing move here. Watch last week again. The detail on this one, why we expect this to go down and why we wanted it to touch here and make an impulse, which has already happened. So we've got a pulsing move, we've got a correction. I was already in this trade, or I'm already in this trade with a stop loss there. I think I posted it in our setups group already. So any corrective structure here, that means we're gonna keep going. We're expecting a big move on the New Zealand. So we're expecting long-term weakness, medium to long-term weakness on the New Zealand. Even if this one comes back down for one, still fine. But preferably, we expect it to correct at current levels and keep pushing higher. New Zealand CAD. All these New Zealand pairs we spoke about towards the end, they made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves. What is happening now is corrective structures, pullbacks. Could make pullbacks before they push higher. Now wait for this corrective structure to confirm. Okay, if it clears here, you're going to make a move like that. And if you look at New Zealand CHF, it's the same thing, 5 waves up, now busy correcting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see all of them perfect pulsing move to the upside. Now we're pulling back. It's 5 waves. This could make a corrective structure and make a pullback like that. Those who like harmonics can see a harmonic pattern here, possibly. If it plays out like that, it can be something like this. And then down. Okay, but you don't trade harmonics patterns without the structure and the sequence. It's just for interest sake. That's New Zealand CHF, AUDJPY. Same, you are just waiting for We've got a pulsing move here. You're just waiting for a proper corrective structure. That's going to be a very nice setup here. Even if this just comes to a minimum here and make another structure here, that's going to be quite a number of pips to the upside. It's going to be a good move. CADJPY, same. You already have a pulse. All you need now is just an entry point, a deep one. This will push higher. All right. Okay, guys, did I miss any pair that someone was interested in that I did not cover here, that we usually cover? I think I've covered everything. So have a great trading week. Wait for the confirmations on the setups. And have a great week ahead. Thank you for joining me, guys. Have a great week. Cheers. Bye-bye. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the video so you get a notification next time I post a video. Cheers.